Before the big clubs, the VIP tables, and the sold-out Afrobeats nights, there were small, sweaty rooms filled with students, laughing, shouting, and dancing like they had finally found home. The story of the first Nigerian student parties in Toronto isn't just about music. It's about belonging. It's about young Africans trying to recreate the energy of Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt in a city that often felt too quiet, too cold, and too far from everything they knew. In the early 2000s, the Nigerian population in Toronto was still growing. Most of the community was made up of families and professionals who came for better opportunities. But the real shift came when Nigerian students began arriving in large numbers, especially through universities like York, Ryerson, and the University of Toronto. For many of them, this was their first time living abroad. And while school life was manageable, something was missing. There was no suya, no Naija slang echoing in the streets, and most importantly, no real parties that captured the vibe they grew up with. So they made their own. The first Nigerian student parties in Toronto were nothing like what we see today. There were no sponsors, no big venues, and definitely no club lights. These were humble gatherings, house parties, rented halls, and dorm lounges where everyone pitched in to make it work. Someone brought a speaker. Someone else handled the playlist. A few others collected small contributions to buy drinks or rent tables. Everything was DIY. But the moment the music came on, everything changed. Those nights were electric. You'd walk into a packed room and hear people shouting over Burna Boy's early hits, singing along to Banj, and dancing to Nido C or Nine Ice. There was laughter, sweat, and a strong sense of family. Everyone knew everyone. You didn't need an invite. If you were Nigerian or even African, you were welcome. These student parties became safe spaces. They weren't just about music or fun. They were cultural anchors. After long weeks of lectures, essays, and trying to adjust to Canadian life, students finally had a place where they could drop their guard. They could speak pidgin, eat jollof rice, and dance however they wanted. It was a reminder that no matter how far away they were, they still carried home in their hearts. Word began spreading fast. Students from other schools started coming, Ghanaians, Caribbeans, even Canadians who had never experienced anything like it. The energy was contagious. Soon, people began organizing bigger gatherings. Nigerian student associations across universities started collaborating to host joint events, talent shows, cultural nights, and of course, the legendary after-parties that would run until morning. DJs became the heartbeat of these nights. Back then, many weren't professionals, just passionate students with laptops and a good ear for rhythm. But they knew the music that moved the crowd. They played the classics, the new hits, and the songs that only true Naija kids would recognize. In those moments, the DJs weren't just spinning tracks. They were storytellers, weaving the sounds of home into the Toronto night. By the late 2000s, these gatherings began growing beyond campus walls. Promoters, many of them former students, saw the potential. They started renting small clubs and lounges, transforming what was once a student movement into the foundation of a citywide Afrobeats culture. Names like DJ Damager, DJ Havel, and DJ Mendoza would later carry that same student party energy into professional nightlife spaces, building the bridge between campus culture and the booming Toronto Afrobeat scene we know today. But make no mistake, those first Nigerian student parties were the spark. Without them, there would be no Afrofest after-parties, no sold-out Whisket nights, no booming Afrobeats Sundays downtown. Everything started with those small, self-made gatherings where a few students decided they didn't need to wait for someone else to give them a space. They created themselves. And that's the beauty of it. These parties weren't just entertainment, they were cultural resistance. They were proof that even when far from home, Nigerians will always find a way to bring their joy, their rhythm, and their community wherever they go. They turned cold Toronto nights into something warm, something loud, something unforgettable. Those early parties created lifelong friendships, relationships, and even careers. Many of today's top promoters, DJs, and Afrobeats influencers in the city trace their roots back to those humble beginnings, to the dorm rooms, the basement halls, and the improvised sound systems that carry the beats of Africa across the city. It wasn't just about escaping school stress or chasing weekend fun. It was about identity. Every dance move, every shout, every chorus of No Wahala or African Queen was a statement. We're here, and we're proud. So when you see a massive Afrobeats event in Toronto today, with thousands of people, flashing lights, and booming sound systems, remember where it all began. Remember those first nights where it was just a few students, a speaker, and a dream to feel at home again. That's the foundation of everything. And as the music continues to evolve, one thing stays true. The spirit that started in those early Nigerian student parties still lives on. It's in the energy, the connection, and a love that fills every Afrobeats event in the city today. Thanks for watching. If you've ever been part of that journey or felt that same joy on a Toronto dance floor, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because this story, just like the beat, never stops.